2025. We will start our junior show this morning with cow-calf pairs. We have a single entry in our cow-calf division for the Angus pairs.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2025 Keystone International Livestock Junior Hereford Show. In the ring right now is our Spring Heifer Calf May and June class. While we have the opportunity, we'd like to introduce our official judge for the day, Mr. Cody Beck of Perry, Oklahoma. Cody is originally from Bainbridge, Indiana, and grew up on his family's cattle operations, Beck Powell Polled Herefords. Cody attended Butler Community College, where he was a member of the Reserve National Champion Junior College Livestock Judging Team during his sophomore year. After junior college, Cody attended Oklahoma State, where he received his bachelor's degree in animal science. While at OSU, he worked at the Oklahoma State Purebred Beef Center. Since 2016, Cody and his wife Taylor have resided in Perry, Oklahoma. Cody works for the American International Charolais Association, where he is the Southwest representative. His duties consist of traveling the region, attending sales, herd visits, and educating on the importance of Charolais cattle. We're sure glad to have Cody with us this morning to judge our Hereford show.
Well, good morning over here on the Hereford side. A nice little pair of heifers here to start off the day with. The heifer I'm going to elect to use to win the class here has just got so much length of body. I really like her extension up through her front 1/3. Female, it's got some depth through her rib cage. My female, though, I would probably like to make her change her a little bit when she's going away from me. She wants to get a little narrow tracking down at the ground, but still a really nice, high-quality female for that young man. I like her length. I like her depth. Young man's heifer here in second. This is a real practical, useful kind of a heifer calf. She's really cowy. She's a moderate, big-bodied female. I just like to tidy her up there through her front 1/3. I like to maybe see her put down a little more foot and bone and drop her through her center rib. But a nice pair of cattle that are going to be very useful for those two young men.
In the Hereford ring, class 2153, our winner was entry 3873. Chestnut 2296 Beverly, exhibited by Nathan Bernatowitz. And our second place entry was entry 2118 Sunridge 25 Melania 625, exhibited by Landon Hall. Congratulations. Now in the ring is class 2154 Spring Heifer Calf April 2025 division.
Well, here on our Angus side, first off, let me say it's always a pleasure to get to come out here to Harrisburg and get to evaluate some stock out here. I really enjoy the trip out here. With that being said, as we get started here with our cow-calf, just an excellent way to get us started. Young lady brings us just a really fresh kind of a female here. She's really clean in her lines, really long and level about her top. She's nursing a big old March bull calf out here that sure has got a world of good about him. When you break these things down, they're super sound, they're super functional, just a good place to get started. Congratulations to you guys.
Results of junior breeding cattle, Angus Division cow-calf pair 4 and older. Your grand champion cow-calf pair is exhibited by Davin Boyle with Just Enough Sakara Sheena. We are now ready to move into our heifer division. Our first class of Angus heifers would be your junior heifer calf. We have 4 entries with birth dates ranging between March 7th and April 30th.
Back over here on your Hereford side, I think a really close pair over here to sort through. They both have some give and take, and there's definitely a difference in terms of performance here. But I elected to go with this young man's heifer up front here. She strikes me as a little more complete, a little smoother skeleton muscled. Though she gives up a lot of performance to that one in second, I just read this female going into the future being a little more youthful about that front 1/3 and a little bit better in terms of her joint work. But I think if a young man will just get throwing the feed bucket to that heifer, I think he's got a nice project on his hands. Young lady here in second, that is the performance female that's really stout. I like the power and muscle that she has coming down her top and out of her hip. She's got a nice big old foot on her, but for me though, she just gets a little coarser in terms of her joints. I like to smooth her up and make her a little fresher and more feminine up through that head and neck, but still a real powerful female for the young lady. It's going to make a nice brood cow.
Congratulations to our exhibitors in Class 2154, the Spring Heifer Calf Class, April 2025. Our winner was entry 5766 JWF Crystal 020, exhibited by Brant Anders. And in second place was entry 3305 JVF Fire Poppy, exhibited by Abigail Smith. Now in the ring is Class 2155, our March 2025 Spring Heifer Calf class. While I have the opportunity, I want to introduce our Hereford Queens for the day. Natalie Belcher is our 2025 National Hereford Queen, and we're excited to have her with us. Natalie is a 19-year-old freshman attending Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, Georgia. She's studying agricultural education with a minor in animal science. She is a 5th-generation Hereford cattle breeder and is very excited to be here to represent the Hereford breed. Thank you, Natalie. Assisting her is Cara Lee Mills, the 2025 Georgia Hereford Sweetheart. She is the sister of our National Hereford Queen, and she would like to wish all the junior exhibitors good luck today. Thank you, ladies, for helping.
Well, a nice class of marches here over on the Hereford side. I think a pretty dominating winner here up on top. I like this one's build from the side. She's really well balanced. I like that depth through her rib. Got a big old foot and bone on her. She gets out and gets around the ring relatively well. And I like that power when you get in behind her too. If I was to change her just a little bit, I know I'm ultra critical, but I just like to jerk her down in that tail head. But that's a really nice quality balanced female for that young man. It gets a little closer for me between 2 or 3. I elected to go with this young man's heifer here. She's a little surer-footed. She's probably the soundest structured one in the class. She gets out and goes around the ring really, really well. And she has a balanced look from the side as well. I just like to hook her up a little bit better from her hooks to her pins. But I think that young man's got a nice female. It's going to make a tremendous brood cow and bred. Young lady's heifer here on the third. She's a really nice quality female as well. I think she's going to be a really useful kind of a heifer. I like her up through that front 1/3. I like the depth through her rib cage that she has. She just gets a little splays out a little bit out front. Wants to kind of hawk in when she goes away from you and gets a little choppy off those rear two. But a really, really nice class winner. 2 solid second females go second and third.
Congratulations to our winners of the March Spring Heifer Calf class. That's class number 2155. Our winner is entry 3830, Chestnut 2296 Marbles, exhibited by Nate Bernatowicz. In second place, entry 3346, LCSC Mary Ainsley, exhibited by Chase Harward. And in third place is entry 4057, TVF Queenie 6N, exhibited by Sophia Taylor. Coming in the ring now are our candidates for Champion Spring Heifer Calf. We should have entries 3873, 5766, 3830, as well as 2118, 3305, and 3346.
Well, as we jump into our first class of Angus heifers, just high quality from top to bottom in this particular class. But I think I chose to start with a young lady here that just brings me more cow. Heifer that's got bigger volume to her. She's got more muscle. Heifer that's soundest, one of the soundest ones in the class, and I appreciate that. When you want to talk about her, I think the balance of this heifer brings her to the top for me. Now, I chose this next pair here coming. I went ahead and went with the young man here for second. A heifer that I appreciate the length of front, the way she ties together up high versus the heifer that comes in 3. She's so much better from her top line out of the top side of her structure back into her hip. I appreciate that heifer, and I think she finds the second spot for me. Now, there's a lot of things I do like about this young lady's heifer here in 3, but she's a little shorter coupled. She wants to get up in her back ever so slightly. She gets a little straight out of that shoulder. Need to relax that, give her just a little more cushion as she goes there. And then the young lady winding up our class. She's got a high-quality heifer, got a lot of extension up through her front. She's really long and level about her top. She just doesn't have the foot or the structure to run with them ones ahead of her today. Need to kind of sweeten her up off of that hock. Good class to get us started, though.
Well, over here on your Hereford side, let's go ahead and give this first division a round of applause. A lot of quality females out here for these young people. I think for me, there's one that probably just dominates in terms of balance and look and structure and some power, just some minor critical things I'd like to change on her, but then it gets a little closer for reserve. But I'll go out there and show you a champion, take you one more look for reserve.
On the Angus side, results of your junior heifer calf class March 2025. First was awarded to Piper Cates with SSF Proven Queen. Second went to James Mullenix, entry number 1538 with CMFWRA Blackbird. Third to Allison Schultz, entry number 2517. And fourth to Gillian Shane with entry number 5938. Into the ring at this time, we have our next junior heifer calf class. This should be your Februaries, ranging in age from February 10th to February 18th. We have 4 entries.
Congratulations to our champion spring heifer calves. Our champion was entry 3830. He was from class 2155, owned by Nate Bernatowitz, Chestnut 2296 Marbles, born 3/29/25, and sired by UPS Sensation. Our reserve champion was from our first class, 2153, and that was entry 3873, Chestnut 2296 Beverly. She was born 5/17/25, also out of UPS Sensation, and also owned by Nathan Bernatowitz. Congratulations. Now in the ring is class 2158, our February junior heifer calves.
Well, I do believe we got another real high-quality set of heifers here as our February Angus heifers come out. But as in our first class, where I'm going to kind of set myself is, I think the one that starts does so relatively easy in my mind. I like her footwork, her foot and bone work. I like the way this one ties together in her shoulder. The heifer that's so good in her top line. I love the top side of her structure, the way she ties back into that hip. She's the one that's got the extra rib, the extra capacity, as you might say, to go ahead and get us started. Now, when they come in the ring, this young man with the second one, this one really hit me, and I was really drawn to her. I love so many pieces and parts to this heifer. Just when you put her in comparison with that one that wants to start, she's not as big structured as that one. Love the way she's designed up through her front 1/3. I like the way she ties together up high. I need to stouten her up, give her just a little bit more base width, get that hock set around there just a little bit truer and squared to run with that one that starts our class. Now you want to talk about big pieces, and I think it's here to come with this heifer. This heifer's got so much length of front, length of spine, length of hip. I love that about her. It's when I put her in motion. She's not as comfortable off of them rear two as the two ahead of her in this particular class. I think her days are way ahead of her here. As this one gets some more body and more shape to her, I think this one could get really good. If she'll settle down on that hock, just get a little more comfortable as she wants to go, man, she is so cool in her front 1/3. I think you got a bright, bright future with that one. Then the young man winds us up with just a nice little cow unit out here. Man, I don't want to pick on this one because this one's kind of could make a lot of money for this young man. She's not as good in her foot and her bone work. She's high volume, got a lot of rib and a lot of shape to her. Just got to get her a little better at the ground to make her run in this class.
Results of Class 2005 Junior Heifer Calves. First was awarded to Sawyer McGrew with GCR SGM Sarah's Dream. That was exhibit number 2327. Second went to Troy Heath, 3361, with Heath's Windy. Third to Macy Flessler, exhibit number 2174, with FSC Phyllis. And fourth to Davin Boyle with Just Enough Sakara Sophia, entry number 4849. Into the ring at this time, we bring class 2006 junior heifer calves. These three heifers range in age from January 1, 25 to January 28, 2025. Again, 3 entries.
Well, really a high-quality trio of heifers out here for us in the Angus show. Maybe a little more give and take in this particular class. You can maybe lay your preferences different ways out here, but for me, the young lady I'm starting with, just probably the more balanced heifer of the trio out here. Heifer that, no, she's not the coolest fronted one. She needs a little change out of that front chest floor up through her throat latch. But yet, I think when you lay that all together back from their back, she's the most uniform, most balanced. She's probably the most mobile heifer in terms of the way I like to see them move out here. I think she's the place I go ahead and get started. Now the big pieced heifer here in 2, heifer that's so long and extended about her front, and I do love that about her. But where she gets in trouble for me is right in there behind that shoulder. She just needs a little more shape coming out of the backside of that shoulder. Set her down on just a little truer hock, make her her just a little more comfortable as she gets around the ring, but yet still got so many big pieces. She's really good in her hip structure. I like that about her. I think she's got enough volume, enough center part of her body, but just need to fix her right in behind that shoulder blade. And then giving up here, just the third heifer out here, good looking, got all the parts and pieces that she needs. Maybe gets a little steep out of that front one third heifer that I just need to relax in that knee ever so slightly. She gives up some pounds and performance out here, but I'm not going to pick on her for that. Yeah, she needs to have a little bit more. Just need to change her in that angle of that shoulder to make her run with them two ahead of her day. Nice trio of heifers, a little bit more interesting, that disorder.
Over here on your Hereford side are really the deepest class we've had thus far, and I think it's challenging because I'm sure it's one of the first shows for these young Hereford calves, so they're not wanting to really lead and cooperate. I think it's a really close pair up here on top. Yeah, young lady's heifer in third. I like her quite well as well, and all the way throughout the class. This young man's heifer up on top here I think is extremely good. I know it's kind of hard to tell because she's fighting the halter so much, but she probably wins the class in terms of soundness, in my opinion. She's a little more rock back in that shoulder and knee. I love the way this female uses her hind leg when she actually does lead, and a female that I think presents a look of quality from the side. Now, to change her, I guess I'd like to probably tidy her up there right there in the center portion of her chest, and I can't really tell at the moment since she's pulling back so bad. I probably like to hook her up a little bit better from hooks to pins, but a big-footed, really nice hind leg, quality, useful kind of a heifer for the young man. Young lady's here, heifer in second. Standing still, I think she wins the class. She's so level and true down her top line and out through her hip. A female that gives you a really nice balanced look from the side, and I love the depth of body that she has, and she's got plenty of spring of rib to her too when you get in behind her. But for me, she's just too rock forward in that shoulder and knee. I'd like to see her get out with a longer stride, but young lady, you got an excellent heifer that I like a great deal. Young lady's heifer here in third. She's probably the most cooperative of the trio on top. I think she's probably the soundest structured female and probably in the class. She's so good on all four corners. And I think female has some dimension and rib design. I love that look up through her front 1/3. For me today, though, I just probably like to drop her down in her center portion of her body, maybe hook her up a little bit better from hooks to pins. But young lady's got a nice heifer that I think is going to make a tremendous bred. Young lady here in third, kind of similar, maybe more similar to our second place one. Standing still, she gives you a really good look. She's long and extended. I like that length of her hip, and I like the way her front end is assembled up through her shoulder and her head and neck. But a female for me, though, she just gets a little too straight in that front end structure. She wants to splay out up front. She gets a little hammer-legged when she gets going. But a nice female that has a really nice look. Young lady coming out here next, really sharp. I love that heifer's head and neck. The female that just comes out straight out the top side of that shoulder with that neck. I love her through her chest floor. A female that's got some dimension and rib design, but for me, she's just too shallow-bodied. I like to pick her up in terms of her pins. Young lady heifer coming out here next is a real cowy kind of a female that's got some body shape and some dimension. Just a heifer gets a little plainer, gets a little too round out of that hip for me, but I think going to be a real useful cow for the young lady. Young lady's heifer rounding out the class. Don't get discouraged. I think you got a really good project on your hands. Really zipper fronted. I like that about her. Long and level down that top. Just gets a little too out horsepowered today. She's a little too drawn up in that body cavity. I'd like to see her with a little more stoutness and power from behind. But a quality class. Let's give those exhibitors a round of applause.
Piper Cates, number 4752 from Class 04. Sawyer McGrew, exhibitor 2327 from Class 05. And Allison Schultz, 2516 from Class 2006. These are your exhibitors competing for your champion junior heifer calf. Thank you.
Well, as we get ready to select our calf champion here on our Angus side, first off, let me say, man, my compliments to these junior kids out here. They brought us a really good set of them out here. I'm excited for the rest of the day to get to see what else we got coming. But as we get started right out here, this is my compliments to these kids and to their families for bringing just a nice set of heifers out here. As we're not going to get deep on talking these things in our divisions, but just a few quick words here. The young lady out of that first class, just so high-volumed at this stage of the game. Love that about her. I like her footwork. I like her bone work. A heifer, man, if I could tweak her ever so slightly, maybe change her from her hooks to pins, set that pin up in her just ever so slightly. But I love the way she ties together down low. Really appreciate that heifer there. Young man out of that second class, just one that's very complete in her kind. She too is high-volumed, a heifer that's, when you read her at the ground, she's the sound one. She's got the right kind of foot and bone work going for her. A heifer that's got some extension about her front 1/3. A heifer that you really appreciate the way she ties together in her hip. Really high-class, high-end kind of female there in our second class. Young lady brings us this one out of that third class, and I just got done talking to her. Man, from her shoulder back, this is the way you build them. I really like this heifer. If I could tweak her ever so slightly, yeah, I'd maybe change her up, neaten her up in that jowl line just ever so slightly. Maybe give her just a nickel more bone and footwork out here, but man, that'd be nitpicking on one that's got a bright future to her. Then we go down here with our seconds, and I think they're very comparable, and they're pushing all these ones out here. But if you would, put your hands together, congratulate these. I'm going to take one more look, and I'll get you a pair of them out of here.
In the Hereford ring, we're just going to do a quick catch-up on our junior heifer calf February division, class 2158. The winner of that class was entry 204, Day Sapphire Ada, exhibited by Rhett Day. Second in the class was entry 4485, GSF All About Ruby, exhibited by Lucy Flynn. Third in the class was entry 2989, HCIM Val, exhibited by Mackenzie Haler. Fourth was entry 5051, fifth entry 4058, sixth entry 3833, and seventh entry 5768. Now in the ring is class 2159, January born junior heifer calves.
I'd like to congratulate, first we'd like to announce our class winners for 2006. First was awarded to Allison Schultz with Washington's Pearl. Second to Olivia Gagne with AMC Mrs. Reflection. And third went to Jillian Weaver with PLR Hazel. Your junior heifer calf was exhibited by Sawyer McGrew with GCR SGM Sarah's Dream. And your reserve champion junior heifer calf was exhibited by Piper Cates with SSF Proven Queen. In the ring at this time, we now have class 2009. We have 3 exhibitors. These heifers range in age from October 26th to November 28th, 2024.
Well, over here on your Hereford side, I think a challenging trio here to sort, but I think if you get back to basics in terms of structure and a maternal look, I think this female probably fits the bill in this class. She's a really long-sided female, like that depth through her rib cage, a female that gets around the ring with the most fault-free in terms of her feet and legs, a female that I think is going to make a nice, useful cow for the young man. I would like to power her up, maybe level her out there through her hip. The heifer here in second is overwhelming in terms of power and dimension and boldness, has just chock full of red meat and muscle, but a female for me that I can't think that works to her disadvantage. She's a little quick in terms of her maturity pattern, gets a little coarser about that shoulder. I like to just make her a little smoother through that tail head and like to make her a little surer-legged when she goes away from you. Female rounding out the class, I like her look. I like this female up through her front 1/3. She's a female too. That's bold and has a lot of muscle in her. She just gets a little shallower body, gets a little straighter off both ends, but a female that's going to make a nice quality female for this young lady. I like her front end, but like I said, a challenging trio. You can kind of switch them around if you want to, but I think a nice solid class for those young people.
Congratulations to our winners of class 2159, our January junior heifer calves. First place was entry 3269, MF 7029 Karen, exhibited by Colton Sugg. In second place was entry 2600, PF 308F Naomi 503, exhibited by McKaylee Forrest. And in third place was entry 3233 JDC JB Evelyn, exhibited by Ella Fritz. Now entering the ring on the Hereford division are our champion junior heifer calf entries.
Well, very high competitive kind of a class here in our falls in the Angus show. We got three of them out here that, man, you could kind of, they're different in their kind, but the one that I'm going to go ahead and start with, she hits me the hardest, and I really like this kind of a female right here. She's long and extended. I love the way she ties together up high out of the top side of her structure. You read her out of her hip. She's very mobile and very flexible out of that hip. Then when you study at the ground, that's the right kind of footwork, bone work. I appreciate that in quite a bit. Put this one in motion. I like her. She's the most comfortable one in this particular lineup of heifers out here. Now the big pieced heifer here in 2, the young lady brings us, man, she's got worlds of pieces that you can talk about, but she wants to come apart right there in that forerib and that heart area. She's not as comfortable off of them rear 2 as our class winner is. Then I'd maybe like to tweak her ever so slightly from her hip back, just maybe set that tail head in, or just ever so slightly, maybe just a little different, but yet still high quality, big piece kind of a heifer. Then I don't want to take away from this young lady with our third heifer. She's the greenest one. She's the frailest one of the 3 out here, but still, that's probably not where I want to pick on her at. A heifer that we just need to balance her up from her chest clear back into her flank area, and just maybe change her there ever so slightly. Give her a little more power, a little more mass to run with them ones ahead of her. But this was a good trio of fall heifers. My congratulations to them.
Back over here on the Hereford side, got in here in the second division lineup. I won't take too much time. I thought there was 2 that were extremely good. I'm going to keep them together. Young man, out of your first class, you're going to be our division champion. Young lady, you're going to be a reserve. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our champion junior heifer calf division winners. Our champion was entry 200, Day Hazel C. 1857, born 2/22/25 and sired by H. Montgomery 7437. She was shown by Rhett Day. Our reserve champion was entry 4485, GSF All About Ruby, born 2/9/25, sired by KLD RW Marksman, and exhibited by Lucy Flynn. Congratulations. Now entering the ring on the Hereford side is our class 2162, November and December senior heifer calves.
On your Angus side, results of Class 2009 late senior heifer calves. First was awarded to Mandelia Schaefer, exhibitor 4904 with SCC Sandy's Tradition. Second went to Clancy Stockdale with TSSC Proven Queen. And third to Lydia Kalinsky, exhibit 1525 with AED Rita. We now have in the ring Junior Breeding Cattle Angus Class 2010. I have 4 entries in this class. Birth dates are ranging between September 6th and October 5th, 2024. At the conclusion of this class, we will be selecting your champion and reserve champion senior heifer calf.
I'd like to take this chance to introduce one other princess that's helping us today in the Hereford ring. Miss Dorothy DeFord is our 2025 Maryland Hereford Junior Princess. Dorothy's from Harford County, Maryland. She's in 5th grade and is extremely excited to be here today. So she is helping our National Hereford Queen, Natalie Belcher, as well as our 2025 Georgia Hereford Sweetheart, Cara Lee Mills. Thank you, ladies.
Good class here on the Angus side. Just maybe a little different kinds and shapes out here, and there's all 4 of them out here. Sure got a lot of good about them. I went ahead and chose to start with the young man here. Just a heifer that ties things together better for me. She's so good in terms of her shoulder set, the way she sets that front knee, and that's probably where she's better than our heifer here in 2. Just more length of front, length of spine. Like to see this one get out and go just a little, maybe a little better. I think if he'll catch a gear and make that one go, she's still very comfortable as you ask her to go a little quicker. I think once she gets out there, very high quality. Now, I love this guy's heifer here in 2. I just need to neaten her up. I need to pull her front end together just ever so slightly. When I get a front view of this heifer, she just wants to splay out in her front just ever so slightly. She's not as attractive out of that front 1/3 up through that neck area. But man, this is a high volumed, high muscled, just a really good. I love the size of bone she has in her. If I could tweak her just out of that front shoulder ever so slightly, man, that's kind of makes a lot of money right there. The young man coming with this third one is so typey in her kind, just so neat in her lines, but yet she gives up just when you want to talk about the extras that the first 2 in this particular class have. For me, she doesn't have as much power down low as them 2 ahead of her. When I'm talking to her at the ground, at the foot size, she's not as comfortable when I get her into motion as them 2 ahead of her. She's wanting to tuck her pins down in her ever so slightly. If she could get just a little more comfortable out here, maybe push that thing just ever so slightly. Then they're coming up, winding up our last one here in this particular class. Young lady still brings us a high quality heifer that just doesn't have as much power and shape to her as some of them ones ahead of her, but yet still so good in her lines, so long and level. Like this one's hip design. I like the way she sets her hock stock down. I just need to stouten her up, give her to run with them ones ahead of her in this particular class.
Solid set of heifer calves over here for the start the senior heifer calf division. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. This young man up here in first got a good one. I like that female a great deal. I ain't going to get all scientific. I can tell you everything that's so good about her. She's got a maternal look. She's well balanced. She's sound structured. She's sound enough. Good heifer young man. Not to take anything away from this young man here in second. I like this female up through her front end. I love the way that her head and neck come out top side of her shoulder. She's really bold, big-footed female, but I just like to tweak her in terms of, I like to smooth her up there at the point of her shoulder, and I think that pair becomes a little closer. But young man, you got an extremely good heifer as well. I just like to tidy her up there at the point of her shoulder. Young lady coming out in third, I think a female, if you could run a bunch of good replacement heifers, this is the kind you want, because she's moderate, she's big-bodied, she's sound, she's bold. She just kind of runs into two buzzsaws there up on top. I just like to tidy her up there in through her chest, maybe like to jerk her down in terms of her tail head. But young lady, you got a tremendous brood cow in the making in that heifer right there. Young man coming out here in third, I think it gets a little closer down here in fourth. It gets a little closer between fourth and fifth. Young man, you got a heifer. It's really long and elegant up through that front 1/3. She's extremely nice in terms of her bone work. But a female just reads a little hard to me. She's a little shallower bodied. She wants to splay out up front. But a female, it's really long and extended, and I like that about her. Young lady rounding out the class, another useful cowie kind of a heifer. She's moderate too. She's big bodied. I like the way she utilizes her hind leg. I just like to see her more ladylike up through that front end. Maybe like to tone her down in terms of her condition, but going to be a useful, practical cow for the young lady when it's all said and done. But congratulations to those exhibitors. Really, really good class winner.
In the ring at this time, on your Angus side, we are selecting our senior heifer calf. The following exhibitors are in the ring. From class 2009, your late senior heifer calves. From September and November are Medelia Schaefer, entry 4904, and Jason Manwiller, entry number 8845. Your seconds in that division are as follows: Clancy Stockdale and Colton Grimm.
If you'll turn your attention to the Hereford ring, I have placings from class 2162, November-December senior heifer calves. First in that class was 4585 KLL L-Man Rogue, exhibited by Hudson Fleener. Second in class was entry 201, Day Brecken C 1857, exhibited by Rhett Day. Third was entry 2603. Fourth was entry 2783, and fifth was entry 3087.
Well, just a single entry over here on the Hereford side. Young man's, a lot of times judges are lying when they say that she could withstand some more competition, and they're lying. This one really can. This female, she's elegant up through that front 1/3, really smooth at her points, dead level down her top and out of her hip. I like that about her. Really deep in the center portion of her body. I'd like to maybe just make her a touch deeper there in that forerib. But young man, you got an extremely good heifer, and I'd say you scared off some competition, but nice female for this young man. Excited to see her come back for division.
Well, we didn't have big numbers here in our fall division, but quality sure run deep in both of these classes. So if you would, put your hands together for these kids out here. Wasn't much of a clap, but yeah, that was good. My compliments to you. They just brought a really good set of them out here. I'm so happy with this, both of my class winners out here, and I think it's extremely close between this pair of them out here. The young lady down here brings one that just ties together so nice. When you want to talk about her length of front, the way she ties together in her top shape, she's a nickel longer in her body than our heifer out of that second class, but still ties it so good together in terms of the way her hips design, the way she sets that hock down, just true and square. Love her foot and bone work. Appreciate that heifer quite a bit. This heifer then coming out of 2 has got maybe a little extra dimension, and that's what makes this thing so close. When you get in behind this one's so bold sprung, and I appreciate that heifer that she too is so tied together so nice out of her front 1/3. I like the way her knee sets in her. She's not as long topped, long spined as our heifer out of that first class, but yet she's maybe just got a little bit more natural muscle and shape to her. So this makes it very, very close out here. But I think when you put them both together out here, the young lady out of that first class suits me just the way she ties together. She'll be your champion. Congratulations to her. Following real close with this young man out of that second class for reserve. My congratulations to you.
I'd like to give the results of class of our champion senior heifer division. Your champion senior heifer was exhibited by Medelia Schaefer with SCC Sandy's Tradition. That is a PVF Blacklist daughter. Your reserve was exhibited by Jackson Manwiller with SCC Phyllis, a daughter of SCC SCH 24 Carat. We're now ready for class 2014, early summer yearling heifers. We have 3 exhibitors in this class. Birth dates range from May 4th to June 17th.
In the Hereford division, we had a single entry in class 2163. Congratulations to Lane and Logan Katie with Innisfail LCC Sally. That was entry number 5678. In the ring right now are our August and September senior heifer calves.
While our judges sorting our class here in the Angus ring with your early summer yearling heifers, this will also be a division. Your first and second from this class will become your champion and reserve champion intermediate heifer.
Well, over here on your Hereford side, it's going to be a really tough division here when we get them back out here for a division lineup. Young man's heifer that wins this class, she does so rather handily. She's long, she's extended. I like that youthfulness and freshness that she has. I like her condition, how fresh she is. If I was to change her ever so slightly, I like to probably give her a little more flex to that hock. But young man, you got a female, it's very, very high caliber. I think I'm going to be a tremendous senior yearling. Just like to tweak that hind leg just ever so slightly. Young man here coming in second kind of falls there logically for me. She's moderate, she's sound structured, she's got some boldness to her, but a female just kind of doesn't quite have that elite look as our class winner, but it's still a really comparable cow prospect for the young man. I like her completeness. Young lady here coming in third, she's the highest performing female in the class and probably the biggest in terms of her foot and her bone, but I'd like to tidy her up there in through that front 1/3. Like to probably tone her down in terms of her condition, but I think going to be a quality cow prospect for the young lady. Young lady coming out here next, really long spined heifer, just wanting to see a little more bone underneath her. I like to probably change her out through her hip, but another female is going to be really useful. Young man rounding out the class has got a really heavy muscled female, probably works to her disadvantage a little bit. She just gets a little coarser, gets a little choppy on the move, but a real quality set of cattle that just went out in that class.
Well, I'm going to be the first one to admit you could line them up 3 different ways out here, and I certainly had them lined up 3 different ways. You guys can kind of make up your mind, but this is the way I see them today. I think the young man that brings us this heifer that I chose to start with brings us the one that's the one that ties together the best in terms like in behind her shoulder blade, the way she lays together there. Now, is she pushing too much condition? Yeah, maybe for me. She's probably out there on that edge, but we're not going to single trade her on that. I think the quality of this heifer, the way he gets her parked here, she ties together the best. She's got a little chest. I mean, I'm not going to pick on her for that too bad. A heifer, if we could change that, man, here's one that's really good at the ground. She's got the right kind of bone work working in her. She's the best one from her hooks to pins of the trio out here. Just a nice place to start. Now, this young lady brings us one here that in 2 that a lot of things I like about this, and I love her out of her front 1/3. I like the way her knee sets in her. I prefer her foot and bone of the trio of out here, but she just kind of comes to me and maybe wants to look a little harder. She doesn't have the extras in terms of her belly shape. I'm not big on have belly draggers out here, but she just maybe reads to me just ever so slightly maybe a little harder in her condition than that one that goes ahead and starts. Still high quality, good looking, just maybe give her just a little more soft look to her. Then we got this young man down here with this heifer in 3rd. Matt, you brought a really good one to the show for us, a heifer that just isn't as attractive out of her front 1/3. She doesn't tie together right in that 4-ribbon heart as well as them 2 ahead of her. A heifer that's very comfortable, just a really high quality cow power, if you might say. Tweak her ever so slightly, sharpen her up out of that front 1/3 would really make this an interesting class. Very good trio of heifers. My compliments to them.
Over on the Hereford side, go ahead and give this fall division a round of applause because there's a lot of quality females out here and it's been tough to sort through. I haven't done this yet, but I think it deserves some merit. The female, I'm talking these heifers, female out of that first class is just so complete and so maternal, and I love her feet and legs. Female gives you a nice striking look. She's just stout enough and just bold enough when you get in behind her. Female, I think, has a really, really nice maternal image in my mind. And the female out of the second class here is a female that I love the striking look she has. I love her ear set. I love the way that neck comes out the top side of her shoulder. She's got a lot of power and punch to her, which I think kind of works to some of the things I'd like to change about her. She just gets a little piecier there in that heart and forerib for me, and just probably want to jerk her down her tailhead just ever so slightly. But I love the striking presence of that female, and I love her power. Young man's heifer out of the third class. I love her length and extension. I like that front end quite a bit about her. A female that reads me as I like her condition for today going on down the road as a senior yearling. I think a really high quality female. Like I said in class, I'd like to see her with a little more flex and give to that hawk, but I think a tremendous female. I'll talk the seconds just briefly because they deserve some credit. That young man, that second out of the first class, another striking female that's got some foot and bone to her, just like to tidy her up there at the point of her shoulder. And then the young man out of the third class, that was second to this third class winner. A female just real cowy, moderate, maternal, a really solid female. But for me, there's one that's here to win, I think, in my opinion, that I'd drawn to pretty heavily. Young man out of your first class, you're going to have our division champion, and I'm going to take a closer look for reserve because I think it gets really, really close.
Results, Inner Angus side, results of Class 2014. Congratulations to your intermediate heifer champion, Hayden Weaver. Entry number 77, EV Sarah's Good Times. She's a May 4th daughter of Stag Good Time. Your reserve champion intermediate heifer was exhibited by Paige Atkins. Exhibit number 2401, Colburn Sarah's Dream. In the ring at this time, and third in that class was exhibited by Jacob Fortenbaugh. Exhibitor 4395. In the ring at this time, we have Class 2017. This is your junior yearling April division. We have 3 entries.
Turning your attention to the Hereford ring, we'd like to congratulate and announce our champion senior heifer calves. Our champion was entry 4585, owned by Hudson Fleener. She is KLL L-Man Rogue. She was from the Class 2162, born December 5th, and sired by TRBPF American CL. Our reserve champion was from our August-September senior heifer calf class, and that was entry 1770, Hoffman Karma 4725, exhibited by Collier Schaefer, born August 23rd, and sired by Bar JZ On Demand. Congratulations to our champions. And now in the ring is Class 2167, our late summer yearling females. If you're marking your catalogs in the Hereford ring, I just want to catch you up on Class 2164. Our winner was entry 1770. In second was 4722. In third was 2802. In fourth was 3821. And in fifth was 3096.
Well, here on our Angus side, just a really good trio of April females out here, and but I chose to start the young man here. He's the one that just hits me the hardest in terms of balance, in terms of the way she sets down on her feet and legs. A heifer that just ties together better than the other two coming in this particular class. When you read her in her forerib and her heart, that's probably where she excels for me in this set of heifers out here. Then when you read her on back, like the way she ties together up high, especially going from her hip back. I think just a very logical, very comfortable place for me to go ahead and start in this class. The young lady here in 2 brings one that's got some parts and pieces to her. For me, comparing her to the one that starts our class, she gets a little straighter in the shoulder. I'd like to give her just a little more angle there. get that knee out there and set her down just a little more comfortable, a little more flex. From there back off her rear two, I appreciate her. Maybe like to tweak her ever so slightly the way she hooks up from her spine back into her hip. Just maybe bring that up ever so slightly. But yeah, so high quality, good looking, high presentation heifer going there. The young lady brings us just one that's very complete in her kind, maybe doesn't bring the extra. She's wanting to push a little bit of chest. She's not as comfortable off of her rear two as them two ahead of her in this class, but still high quality, just a very high productive kind of a female going there.
Results of Class 2017 April Junior Yearling Heifers here on the Angus side. Congratulations to McCoy Goff, entry number 2403 with Colburn Annie. Second was awarded to Madison Bowen, entry 81 with Beaver Creek Blackcap. And third was exhibited by Allison Schultz, entry number 2518 with Washington Sweet Sassy. At this time, we are ready to move into Class 2018. This will be your March Junior Yearling Heifer class. We're looking at 5 head. These heifers range in age from March 18th to March 30th. 5 head in our March division, Angus.
Oh, back over here on your Hereford side, I think a dominating class winner to win. And if they just keep on coming, these really good ones. She's so big-bodied. She's so big in terms of her foot and bone. I like the way she gets out and moves around the ring. Just gives you such a nice quality look. Would probably like to tidy her up there just there at the point of her chest, but that's getting really critical on a really, really good heifer. My compliments to the young lady. Then it gets kind of challenging from there. I think of some females that got some utility to them, but there's so many differences in them. You kind of just got to put your preferences where they are. I think this female probably follows suit in terms of being a brood cow. She's moderate, she's big-bodied, she's sound or structured. Just probably like to tidy her up in there through that front 1/3, like to clean her up there and through her navel. I really like her udder development. That's going to be a really nice udder to female, but a female I think just kind of logically goes into second for me when it gets challenging to sort here on these bottom 4. But if the next female here coming out next, she's really long spine, really sound structured, just like to tidy her up there and through her front end, maybe give her a little more depth in through that rib cage, but it's still useful kind of a female. Female here coming out next, she's probably the lowest performing female in the class, but I think she gets over the female that's going to round out here in terms of her soundness of structure and a little smoother package and a little tidier in terms of her teat placement and size. A female that just needs to be powered up a little bit for me. Young lady here rounding out the class, you got a powerful heifer. I mean, she's got a lot of muscle to her. I like the rib shape she has when you get in behind her. Just like to maybe chisel her down there in terms of the crest of her neck, clean her up there into her chest floor. Like to refine her teats and placement there on that udder development. But a nice class, dominating class winner.
Congratulations to our winners of Class 2167 in the Hereford ring, our late summer yearling females. Entry 4875 was first, SCC 756 High Dollar, exhibited by Riley Stockdale. In second, entry 3837, TPMDS VES Mighty Mouse, exhibited by Rebecca Van Camp. In third was entry 1740, JVF Malibu Bay Breeze, exhibited by Grace Smith. In fourth was entry 2754, PMF KP Peacock, exhibited by Chloe Patrick. And in fifth was entry 5789, OWF Tyra, exhibited by Delilah Barber. Now in the ring, our early summer yearling females, Class 2168.
Well, another quality set of females here in this summer division. The young lady that's leading off the class reminds me a lot of a female that got my attention earlier in the fall division. A similar type of a heifer. She's so elegant when from the side. I love that look up through her front 1/3. She's really solid in terms of her body. I love the way she gets around the ring and just floats. My compliments to that young lady. Then it gets a little challenging. You can kind of do what you want here. I think I'm on this bottom trio. I elected to go with the longer-bodied female. It gets out and moves around the ring a little more fault-free. I like the way she utilizes her hind leg, a little longer spine female. I like the depth of rib that she has. I like that udder development. She wants to kind of drop her pins, probably pushing the limit in terms of condition for me, but I think a quality female that sorts in that second hole kind of logically for me. Young lady here in third's got a really rock-solid heifer as well. She's so bold and so bold sprung, lays a lot of power down her top and out of her hip. I like her base width. I like her how much bone that she has, but I like to loosen her up off both sides of her skeleton, but a real quality female for that young lady. Young man rounding out the class, another bold sprung female. It's got a lot of foot size to her. Maybe just like to tidy her up there and through her front end, clean her up through that navel, but going to be a useful, practical cow for that young man.
If you're marking your catalogs in the Hereford ring, Class 2168 was won by entry 5424, HAW KLD Maisie, exhibited by Piper Cease. Second in class was entry 5780, RWCC Rose Diana, exhibited by Avery Rowlett. Third in the class was entry 2601, MAV Cotton's Magnolia, exhibited by McKaylee Forrest. And fourth was entry 2123, KCL Whitney, exhibited by Landon Hall. Now coming into the ring are our candidates for champion intermediate yearling female.
Wow, what a good pair up here on top of this, and you guys can shake them how you want them. There's some differences in them for me. The heifer that I chose to start with suits me in terms of the way she's designed from her shoulder forward. Man, you cannot build one any better than this, in my opinion. A heifer that is so good from her hip back. A heifer that I just like the way her hock sets in her. I like where she hits the ground. She's very, very comfortable. If I could tweak this one ever so slightly, I'd maybe just give her a little bit more forerib and a little more shape right there and maybe tie that together just ever so slightly. But man, this one is so good in terms of her lower 1/3 of her body, the way she ties together from her chest floor back through the center part of her body, read her at the ground. She's the most comfortable one of the pair out here. Now, I'm not taking anything away from this young man, and I picked on him just a little bit ago on one that I thought was going to make a world of good as a cow. Here's another one that's going to just flat do that. Now, what I'd like to do with this one, I'd like to pick her up from the way she sets in that shoulder into her neck, the way she ties together right there. I'd just like to make her just a little bit more comfortable. She's not as comfortable when you get it right in front of her, the way you read her coming out of her front two, just is not as comfortable as that heifer that starts the class. Read this one out of her hip, though, so good in terms of the way she's designed there. A heifer that I appreciate, the way her hock sets in her. She, too, is really good at the ground. Just maybe doesn't tie together quite as nice in that lower 1/3 of her body as that class winner. Man, that's picking on one that I think has a world of good to her, a very, very high quality. Then I kind of come here to the next trio of heifers out here, and it's a little more give and take, but the young lady brings this one here that just kind of ties together and probably balances up the nicest of the next three out here. She's not as comfortable when you ask her to get out and go in the ring out here. She gets just a nickel more deep in her shoulder, just isn't as comfortable when she hits the ground off of them first front two. Then we come with the next young lady here, good looking kind of a heifer that just kind of gets splayed out on her front two. She's not as deep and soft centered as a couple of these other ones out here. She's just not maybe as comfortable. Good looking, ties together really good up high, like the squareness of hip she has, just make her a little more comfortable as she goes. Good looking one coming here, and I mean, I bet when we first started with this one was right on. She just gets simply too straight off of both ends for me. We need to give her more angle out of her shoulder, set that knee in her, make her a little more comfortable off of them rear two. Good class of heifers going there, high quality from top to bottom.
A really good division here over for these summers over on the Hereford side, and I think I've already got my mind made up, but I think these two young ladies, these cattle merit some discussion because you can tell the time and effort that's been put in these heifers because these two are presented to the nines, and I commend these young ladies and their crew on how they got these cattle presented. Young lady that comes out of this first class here, extremely long body. I love that depth through her rib cage, and I like the way she moves and gets around the ring. Like I said in class, I'd probably like to tidy her up there through her chest floor, but I think a female that's really, really good in terms of her feet and legs and bone work. Young lady that comes out of this next class, like I said, a female is just striking. I love her up through that front 1/3. I like her depth of sight as well and the way she gets around the ring. My minor criticism on her, I guess, is I'd like to spread her teat placement apart just ever so slightly. But that young lady, you got an extremely good heifer. You're going to be our division champion. Young lady out of the first class, you're going to have the reserve.
Results of Class 2018 here on your Angus side. Congratulations to Samantha Van Voris with SSF Envious Blackbird. Second went to Colton Grimm, entry number 4244 Beaver Creek Back Cap. Third went to Allison Schultz with Washington Pearl. Fourth to Macy Fessler, and fifth to KILE Lippert. In the ring at this time on your Angus side, we do have our junior yearling heifer February division. There should be 6 heifers in this class. We have one following class after this, and then we'll be ready for our champion drive.
Congratulations to our winners in the Hereford ring for champion intermediate yearling female. Our champion was entry 5424 HAWKLD Maisie, exhibited by Piper Cease. She's a May 1st heifer, and she was sired by ECR 628 Ivy's Advance. For reserve was entry 4875 SCC 756 High Dollar, exhibited by Riley Stockdale. She's a June 2nd heifer, and she's sired by CH High Roller 756. Congratulations to both. Now in the ring is class 2171.
Well, another solid class of females here over on the Hereford side. I think a dominant class winner. This young lady, this female, looks a lot like her summer that she just had a few moments ago. She's really long and extended. I like the depth through her rib. I like the foot and bone that she has. A female, it's got a lot of length to her, and I really, really like this female. My compliments to that young lady. Then it gets a little closer from there, but I think logically this heifer just lands in second. She's a big-footed, sound-structured female. It's got some power and dimension. Maybe just doesn't quite have that look of that presence as our class winner, but I think I'm a really good brood cow for this young man, and you can make a lot of money having a pasture full of the kind like that. She just needs to be tidied up, like to tone her down in terms of her condition. And then from there, coming into this heifer that's next, she kind of gets over the female that follows her in terms of depth of her to her rib cage and structure. She gets a little truer at the ground. She's a big-bodied female. It's going to be a low-input female for this young lady when she gets into production. Then the young lady here coming out next is a real powerful female. I like the muscle that she has when you get in behind her. I like the boldness to her rib cage. I just like to see her a little more cleaner up through that front 1/3. Maybe like to loosen her up off both ends of her skeleton, but a real power, beefy kind of a heifer.
Congratulations to our winners in the Hereford Division Class 2171. Winning the class was entry 4876 SCC H18 Rivy, exhibited by Riley Stockdale. In second was an added entry 2114 from Clayton Landis. In third was another added entry from Emily Troyer, and that was entry 1304. And in fourth was entry 3819 Carter Miss Ellie 41M, exhibited by Rebecca Van Camp. Now entering the ring are our spring yearling females born in March 2024.
Really good class of heifers here from top to bottom once again. But the young man brings us one that just, as we've been talking about it all day, for me, it starts at the ground. This one's probably, in my opinion, the soundest, most best structured one of the set of heifers out here, and that's where she kind of excels to the top. And then when you put some of the other parts and pieces together for a heifer that you appreciate that angle of her shoulder, you appreciate the way she ties together out of her hip, sets down on a hock that, for me, that you need to set them things square and true. She's very comfortable, and that's probably the most best word I can come up with for this particular heifer. She's the comfortable one out here in this class. Young lady brings us one here that when she gets this one parked, you think, man, this one's pushing her for all she's got. She, like in that last class, I'd like to tweak her. I'd like to bring her neck up out of her shoulder blade ever so slightly, make her a little more comfortable there. A heifer that when I get this one in motion, she wants to rock up in her top. She's just not as comfortable as our class winner coming off of them rear two. She's tucking and kind of pulling up her top ever so slightly. But, man, when she gets her parked, that's a high-volume, bold-sprung, good-looking kind of a female there. Young lady then brings us one here in 3 that is very typey in her kind. She's long and level about her top line. She's so good in terms of her hip, the way that's designed. She just opens up and gets a little straight out of that front shoulder. Got to give her just a little more angle, pushes a little chest, gets a little frailer in her bone work, comparing it to them two ahead of her, but high quality, big, bold sprung kind of a heifer, goes 3 in this particular class. Young lady then with our 4th heifer just doesn't have the extra bells and whistles. She gets a little narrow in her skull work. She just is not as comfortable, and when you want to read her out of her front 1/3, just in that shoulder placement. Big, bold sprung kind of a heifer. Gets two like that heifer right in front of us, just a little frailer in her bone work, just as not as comfortable getting around the ring as the ones ahead of her there too. Big, bold sprung kind of a female coming next, just doesn't have the extras in terms of just the way she's designed up through that front 1/3. Like to tweak her in that top line, just the way she ties together from her hip back into her, from her hooks to pins, like to change that ever so slightly. When this one's parked, you think, okay, man, I can light into this one. She just doesn't balance for me just as nice as them ones ahead of her. True her up, square her up off of that hock, that'd change her quite a bit. young man brings us just a big old cow prospect coming here next. Just does not tie together. She's not as comfortable out of her front 1/3. She's not as comfortable off of that rear hock. Need to change that. Maybe just tweak her ever so slightly as you watch her go. She wants to shuffle and go off of them rear two. Nice class though, big class, really good from top to bottom.
On your Angus side, congratulations to Braylon Schaefer, exhibit number 1759 with Oak Proving Queen. Second was awarded to Cassidy Sill, entry number 1793, Purple Sarah's Dream. Third to Kinley Grimm with Beaver Creek Blackcap. Fourth to Madison Bagley. Fifth to Lydia Kalinsky. And sixth to Chase Kading. We are now ready for Class 2020 Early Junior Yearling Heifers. We have 2 entries in this class. Heifers range in age from January 13th to January 30th. At the conclusion of this class, we will be selecting your junior heifer, champion, and reserve, and then moving into our grand drive for Angus.
Well, sorry for taking a little more time there. I think it's a challenging sort through this class here, especially from third on. I think there's some give and take, but really useful heifers for those young people, going to be productive cows. But the female I elected to start with here for me today, she just has that look in terms of freshness. I like that look up through her front 1/3 that I like so well, and she's pretty good at the ground. Probably like to give her just a shot more power out of that hip, but I think a female that I really like for this young man, I'd like to see her later on in the fall because I think she's just probably about 10 o'clock today, but I think a really good heifer. My compliments to him. Young lady here coming out in second, a really bold sprung heifer, a lot of base width to her. Gets out and around the ring okay. I probably like to see her take a longer stride off that rear leg. I like to tone her down in terms of her condition, but my compliments to this young lady on the presentation of this heifer. Just a really logical place to land in second. Heifer coming out in third, moderate, big body kind of a female. Looks like she's going to be a low input heifer when you put her back in the cow herd. Just wants to get a little too straight up through that shoulder and knee for me. Like to loosen her up there off her rear tube, but a real low input, big bodied heifer. Young lady coming out next, the highest performing female in the class, and you got to appreciate that about her. She's got a lot of boldness and a lot of power. Probably like to see her a little softer in terms of that rib cage as compared to her contemporaries that are ahead of her. Like to tidy her up there through that front end, but a really high performing, bold sprung type of a heifer. Female coming out next, I kind of went back and switched these two next young ladies. I felt like this female probably just bred as probably a little lower input cow to me. She's a little softer softer in terms of that rib cage. Gets around the ring okay. Probably just like to tone her down there in her pones. Maybe like to tidy her up there through their chest, but another low input kind of a heifer. Female coming out next here is a real powerful, big, long, and extended heifer. Just need to loosen her up off both either end of her skeleton, and maybe like to see her just a shot prettier up through that front 1/3, but a lot of boldness and strength and power when you get in behind her. Female here coming out next, a real moderate frame, sound structured heifer. I like her depth of body. I just probably like to power her up. Maybe I like to see her with a little more performance, but it's still a useful, practical kind of a cow for the young lady. Young man kind of round out her class here. You got a punchy little heifer, young man. She's got a lot of power. She's really bold in terms of the turn to her rib cage. I just like to see her a little more ladylike up through that front 1/3. Like to see her go with a little more flex and comfort off her rear too, but a really bold, powerful kind of a heifer for that young man.
Well, here on our Angus side, just a pair of January females out here. Both of them really high quality, just good cow kind of females out here. But the young lady's going to start me here. She's the one that suits me. Just, I mean, this is the way I like to have them look. The heifer that is tied together so nice. She's so complete from the side. She balances up through the center part of her body, through her chest floor. Now, would I like to tweak her ever so slightly? The way she sets that hock down, she gets a little outside herself as I ask her to go, but that'd be nitpicking on one. When she gets this one parked, that's the kind that I like right there. Just very complete, good looking. It's going to be very interesting to get her back out here. Young lady here in 2 then has one that's just cow written all over. She opens up at the base of her shoulder just ever so slightly, but a high volume, got some muscle, got some good parts and pieces to her in terms of her top line. Just need to tweak her out of that chest floor, neaten her head and her throat latch up ever so slightly, but still high quality.
Congratulations to our exhibitors from Class 2020 in the Angus Division. First place was awarded to Medela Schaefer, and second to Avery Kading. We are now ready to select our champion junior heifer at this time. Coming back in the ring from Class 2017 is McCoy Goff. This heifer has a birth date of April 24th, 2024. From your March Junior Yearling Division, we have Samantha Van Voris. This heifer was born March 30th, 2024. Your Class 2019 winner was Braylon Schaefer, entry number 1759. Heifer was born February 21st, 2024. And from our last class, we have Medela Schaefer, entry number 4902. Heifer was born January 30th, 2024. Our seconds are as follows. Exhibitor 81, Madison Bowen. Exhibitor 4244, Colton Grimm. Exhibitor 1793, Cassidy Sill, and our last class is Avery Kading, exhibitor number 169. This is your selection for your champion and reserve champion junior heifers. At the conclusion of this division, we will be selecting your grand and reserve grand champion Angus heifer.
Over here on your Hereford side, you got a close pair here for this division championship. I'll just discuss them briefly. Young lady here out of the first class. I love the length of body this female has a really ladylike look up through her front 1/3. I like that depth through her rib cage. She's really long-hipped. The female utilizes her hind leg really well. Probably like to see her with a little more pop out of her upper hip, but I think a really nice kind of a female. Young man's heifer out of the second class. I like her look and the strikingness that she has. She too has a nice depth to her rib cage and really bold and got some power out of that hip. When you get them in motion, I like to probably see her set down a little softer at the ground off her rear too, but I think a really high quality heifer for that young man. For me, it's a close call. I'm going to go ahead though and use the young lady out of your first class for champion. Young man, you're going to be reserved, but two really nice heifers.
Congratulations to our Hereford champion spring yearling females. Our champion was entry 4876, owned by Riley Stockdale. She was born 4/2/2024. Her name is SCC H18 Rivy, and she's sired by BK Red River. Our reserve champion went to entry 3348, exhibited by Chase Harward. She's a March 19th, 2024 heifer, sired by TR BPF American Classic. Congratulations. Now entering the ring in our Hereford division is class 2175, February born junior yearling females.
Well, here on our Angus side, as we get ready to select this division out here, if you would, put your hands together for these kids out here. What a good set of heifers that they brought us here. As an old grandpa here, man, I'd be proud to have my grandkids lead each and every one of these out here. I think there's so much good in terms of just high quality, good cow power, cows, heifers that's just going to go on and be really good, very productive in their kind. This young man bringing this one out of that first class, I thought, wow, when he won that class, I thought, okay, man, we got one we can land on out here, and she's so high quality. Now, when I get her out here, I'd maybe like to tweak her and make her just a nickel more comfortable as she gets around the ring. But when he gets her parked here, man, that's a good silhouette, just a good looking, balances up in terms of her lower body condition. I appreciate that heifer so much. Now we get this young lady here out of this second class, and I talked to her, just, man, I love the design, the angle of this shoulder, the knee placement in this particular heifer. Read this one at the ground. Her foot size, her bone shape is spot on in her joint work. You appreciate that. Then when you want to talk about balance from the center part of her body up through her chest floor, she ties together the nicest of the group out here. Would I like to tweak her ever so slightly? I sure would. I'd like to maybe change her right in that forerib and that heart area. That's nitpicking. I'm not going to single trait one out here. When they're designed that good, you got to sure keep her in contention out here. The young man brings us one out of that third class, and like the one before, she's maybe not as long and extended out of her front. She ties really high out of that top side of her shoulder, and I appreciate that about her. Or maybe I'd tweak this one ever so slightly. I'd maybe bring her back into her flank, deepen that down, just pull that down ever so slightly, but yet so good in terms of her footwork, her bone work. I appreciate that about her also. She's in contention out here. Young lady, when you get this one parked out here, she's a slam dunk for me. It's when I get her in motion that she concerns me ever so slightly. She's getting blowed out on her back legs just a little bit. I'd like to tweak them, maybe get her. She gets maybe just a little bow-legged for me out here, comparing her to the ones ahead of her. When she gets this one parked, though, that one is spot on in terms of her angle of her shoulder, the way she places that knee out of her front 1/3, like her body shape. There's one over here, one of the seconds, this young man coming out of that second class. I wanted to talk about him, too. Man, oh, man, that'd be a money-making cow prospect for that guy right there. She doesn't have the extra bells and whistles in terms of the way she ties together in her head, her throat latch. She's not quite as attractive from there back. She's definitely one I sure would like to light into out here. So it gets really close out here for me. I'm going to take one more look. I'm going to show you how I like them. But, man, once again, I certainly appreciate and I congratulate these exhibitors on what they brought to the show. Nice job.
Well, over here on this Hereford side, I think there's a challenging trio to sort through, and especially here on this top pair for me. I think there's give and take in all three of these heifers here on the top end. For me, though, today, I just think this female, though I like to tuck her back in her chest just ever so slightly, she's the surer-footed female that's better on all four corners. She's really stout and bold and powerful. And though I say I like to tuck her back in her chest, I mean, that's a balanced heifer. I mean, I like that look of quality that she has. She gets around the ring pretty freely off either end of her skeleton. But I like that power and dimension she has. I especially like her foot shape and her bone she has underneath her. My compliments to that young man. Young lady, I love this striking look that this heifer has. I mean, her neck comes out the top side of her shoulder. She's the freshest up through her front 1/3 of this initial trio. And a female, I like the depth to her rib cage, and she's really soft there in the center portion of her body. She wants to twist out on that front right just ever so slightly. I like to probably spread her teats apart a little bit, but young lady, I like that striking look. That's a female that's going to raise something for you on down the road. Just like to change those minor things about her. Young lady here coming out in third, I mean, that's a big boned heifer. I like that about her. I like that turn to her rib cage and that sweep to her belly line. For me, though, I probably like to change her in terms of the way her toes shape just ever so slightly. She gets a little wide up high and narrow down underneath, and I like to tone her down in terms of her condition, but I think a really high quality trio up there on top. Young lady rounding out here, coming here in fourth. Young lady, I like this heifer. I mean, she's a meat and potatoes kind of a heifer. If you have a pasture full of them, so you're going to make it here in the cow business. She just doesn't probably have that presence of those three up on top, but truly big-bodied female, really sound at the ground. I like her udder design. Just like to tone her down in her condition. Like to give her a little more presence like we have in those initial three. My compliments to that young lady as well. Young lady here next, female that's really long and really long spine female. She's got some dimension to her. She's really sound structured. Just like to tidy her up there and through her front 1/3. Maybe like to see her toned down too in terms of her condition. And a young lady here rounding out the class, a moderate frame type of a heifer. She's got some depth of rib. She's got some boldness to her. Just like to loosen her up off either end of her skeleton. Maybe give her a little more strength in that loin, but going to be a practical, useful kind of a cow for that young lady when it's all said and done.
Welcome here to our Champion Angus Heifer Drive. I'd like to announce our exhibitors in the ring. Your Champion Junior Heifer was exhibited by Sawyer McGrew. She is a February 16th, 2025 heifer. Your Champion Senior Heifer Calf was exhibited by Medela Schaefer. This heifer was born October 28th, 2024. Your Intermediate Champion is being exhibited by Hayden Weaver and was born May 5th, 2024. And your last division, your Champion Junior Heifer, is being exhibited by Samantha Van Voris. This heifer was born March 30th, 2024. In contention for reserve, your Reserve Junior Heifer Calf is exhibited by Piper Cates. Your Reserve Senior Heifer Calf is exhibited by Jackson Manweiler. Your Reserve Champion Intermediate Heifer Calf exhibited by Paige Atkins. And your Reserve Champion Junior Heifer is being exhibited by Braylon Schaefer. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our Grand Champion Angus Heifer Drive and all of our exhibitors. At the conclusion of this class, we will be selecting your champion bred and owned Angus Heifer. While he's making his decision, I would like to introduce our judge for the day for our Angus Shorthorn Plus, Limousine, Limflex, and Red Angus. Judge Brad Weingardner is from Hereford, Ohio. He is a partner in Weingardner and Klingman Show Cattle, along with his wife Melanie and son Tyler, and his wife Natalie Weingardner, and son-in-law Curtis and daughter Hannah. They also have a daughter, Ashley, and husband, Shane. They are working completely, enjoying their 8 grandchildren and following them in all of their livestock and sporting adventures. They raise Chiania, Maine Anjou, Angus, and a few other breeds. They grain farm with their brother and have an annual production sale called the Harvest of Excellence every November. He has judged several major livestock shows across the nation, including the National Western Stock Show, NAIL in Louisville, and here at the Keystone International Livestock Exhibition. He enjoys working with the youth in this industry, and we are so glad to have him here with us today. Again, put your hands together and welcome Judge Weingardner to our show here today.
Well, as we get ready to wind this down here just a little bit, I certainly got amped up when they brought these this set of heifers back out to me, and this young man down here sure's got a bright future. Actually, this pair of kids down here with these calves, man, oh man, they're going to be wicked come next year this time. Just so good in terms of their lines, the way their structure is. Just, I think, bright futures to them. Then we get into these falls right here, and this young lady brought us one that she wanted to contend with. Right here's one that, in my opinion, is built as nice as any of them out here. Now, she set down maybe quite as nice on her hock. She's a little juvenile, maybe just doesn't want to be just as demanding out here once I get her in motion, but parked right here. The design, the angle, the read of that is so good. She balances up really nice. Just a bright future for that fall heifer right there. Young man brings us one out of that spring division. Then one time this thing is just built spot on in terms of the way her angle is to her shoulder. Their knee placement's so good. She's really good. She's bold sprung. I think we talked about that. That's where I kind of lit into this one, just being so bold sprung. Now, would I like to maybe tweak this one ever so slightly, change her out of that chest floor? That'd be nitpicking on one I think's awful good. She's plenty far along in condition for me, but still so high quality, good looking, just in terms of that. So then we kind of get down to this older division here then, and it got really good. It got really heated. There was a trio of them in that particular division that, man, I just love to have gotten on board with. I'd like to have one of my grandkids leading each and every one of them. But I chose this young lady out here just because the way she's so designed so good up through that front 1/3. I love the freshness this one has. If you read that one, angle to her shoulder, the way she ties together down low, you appreciate that so much. I love this one's joint and bone work, footwork is so good. So with that being said, our seconds are so good over there also. Please put your hands together. We're not going to keep going. We got a lot of them to get through here yet today. Put your hands together for these kids.
Back over here on your Hereford side, I think a close pair to sort through here, but I think structure kind of sorted it for me. This heifer's a little more collected in terms of her top line, a little surer footed at the ground. I like the depth of body that she has. I just like to tone her down in terms of her condition, maybe just give her a shot more power when you get in behind her. Young lady here in second, this heifer does have some power and dimension and width to her, but probably comes at the expense of she's a little tighter moving off either end of her skeleton. I like to see her a little more relaxed in her top line, just make her a little looser off either end. But young lady, you got a really heavy muscled female there. It's really square when you get in behind her. Young man here rounding out the class. She's a practical brood cow prospect. She's moderate. She's sound structured. She's going to be low input. I like to just maybe tidy her up there and through her front 1/3, maybe just tone her down in terms of her condition, but a real useful kind of a heifer.
We would like to congratulate your grand champion, Angus Heifer. Was exhibited by Samantha Van Voris with SSF Envious Blackbird. She is a March 30th daughter of XR Envious Blackbird. Your reserve champion, Angus Heifer, was exhibited by Braylon Schaefer and is Oak Proven Queen. She was a February 21st daughter of surveillance style. We are going to select a champion and reserve champion bred and owned Angus heifer. If you have bred and owned heifers, you may now enter the ring. Again, we will be selecting a champion and a reserve champion bred and owned Angus heifer.
If you focus your attention on the Hereford ring, we are selecting our champion junior yearling females. I'd like to introduce our candidates for that. From class 2175, our winner was entry 3220, BK MCC Money Shot, exhibited by Sutter Clark. In reserve for that class was entry 4308, exhibited by Ella DeFord, GGSC EED Mary Lilly. From class 2176, our winner was entry 2827, exhibited by Harrison Roberts. She was Beaufat Hill 756 Saltine. And second place in that class was entry 2599, Pepin 756 McKaylee 402, exhibited by McKaylee Forrest. Judge, your reasons?
We'll give this group of exhibitors over here in the January-February division a round of applause. A real quality set of cattle we saw in this division. For me, though, I ain't going to take too much time. There was two heifers that I thought were really, really good and out of their class, and I think a female's going to win the division, is going to make the grand drive really interesting when we get down to it. But young people out of our first class, you guys are going to have champion reserve. My compliments as young people out of the second class, good cow prospects.
Congratulations to our junior yearling champions. They both came from the class 2175. Our champion is entry 3220, exhibited by Sutter Clark. She's a February 25th Prophet daughter. Her name is BK MCC Money Shot. And our reserve champion is entry 4308, exhibited by Ella DeFord. Her name is GGSC EED Mary Lilly. She is a February 18th GGSC trademark daughter. Congratulations. Entering the ring on our Hereford side is our senior yearling females, class 2179. It's probably a good chance to reintroduce our official judge today, Mr. Cody Beck. Cody is originally from Bainbridge, Indiana, and grew up on his family's cattle operation, Beck Powell Polled Herefords. Cody attended Butler Community College, where he was a member of the Reserve National Champion Junior College Livestock Judging Team during his sophomore year. After college, Cody attended Oklahoma State University, where he received his bachelor's degree in animal science. And while at OSU, he worked at the Oklahoma State Purebred Beef Center. Since 2016, Cody and his wife Taylor have resided in Perry, Oklahoma. Cody now works for the American International Charolais Association, where he is the Southwest representative, and spends his time traveling the region, attending sales, doing herd visits, and educating on the importance of Charolais cattle. We'd like to welcome Cody to the Keystone International Livestock Exposition, so let's give him a good round of applause.
Well, one thing's for sure, that the Angus business is in good hands with these kids coming with this high-quality set of cattle that they've bred and owned out here. They've done such a good job, man. It's been a long time, and it's hard for me to remember back that much time when I was this age, but I sure never had nothing like this getting started that was this high quality from top to bottom out here. So with that being said, my compliments to these exhibitors out here. I thought we had a whale of an Angus show out here. Just maybe not as big numbered as some, but the quality, the good ones come. You know, anywhere you want to go anymore, it's just a tough deal to kind of get through these things. You got to bring a good one no matter where you're going. I don't care if it's a county fair, state fair, at a big show, you got to have high quality. We sure got to see that today. There's a couple of them out here that really intrigue me. I think there's one out here in particular that as I seen them out in the other show that just hit me so hard and was in contention out here to win the whole thing. The young man with the cowboy hat, he's going to be your champion bred and known without a doubt. Super nice. My compliments to you. Gets a little closer out here for me for reserve, and you could kind of maybe do some different things out here. One of them that I like quite a bit, and she's probably not as attractive, is the young man right in front of where he just pulled out. There's a beast right there. That thing is so broody, so big in terms of her body and her shape. Just need to tweak her ever so slightly, just up through that front 1/3. The young lady right in front of him just brings us one that's so typey. Maybe need to stouten her up, maybe change her ever so slightly from her hooks to pins. And then the young lady down here on the end brought us one that's so complete. So it gets a little closer out here for reserve, but I'm going to bet on the future. I'm going to use the young lady out of that right here in the black to be reserved. Congratulations.
Over here on the Hereford side, I think you got a dominating class winner here in this class. She's got a lot of foot. She's got a lot of bone to her. I like the depth to her rib cage. I would like to probably tone her down in her condition, but getting at this stage, I know that's hard, but that's just my minor criticism of her. I like to tidy her up there through her front end, but I like the circumference of bone she has. I like her dimension. I like her rib shape. That's a really high-quality heifer for that young man. Young lady here coming out second. She kind of sorts herself up into second for me. I thought I got pretty close there between 2 or 3, but I appreciate that she's already calved out and she's doing a good job with this young calf at her side. She's got a really nice look up through her front 1/3. She's a long, level designed heifer, and if you put that calf back inside her, I think her belly would be a little more dropped down. But I would like to refine her in terms of her teats. They're getting a little long for me, but still just a cow. It gives you a quality look, doing a nice job raising this calf. Young lady coming out here in third. I like this heifer standing still. She's really long spine heifer. She's got a lot of depth to her rib cage, but when she gets out and moves, she wants to roll up in that top line just ever so slightly. Like to make her a little looser off either end, but still a really long-bodied female that gives you an attractive look up through her front 1/3. Young lady coming out here in next. She's a moderate frame, big-bodied, easy-doing kind of a heifer. I like her udder development. Maybe just want to probably tone her down in terms of her condition, make her a little more youthful and attractive up through that front 1/3. And the young man rounding out the class, I like her udder development too. She's got some spring to her rib cage. Just maybe like to see her a little softer bodied, maybe hinge a little better as she goes off either end.
Congratulations to all our Angus exhibitors. We would like to send out a big congratulations to your grand champion bred and own exhibitor, Colton Grimm, with 42.44 from class 2018. Your reserve bred and own exhibitor was Piper Cates, 47.52, and that heifer she exhibited came out of class 2004. That does conclude our Angus heifer division for the day. We will see that grand champion Angus heifer exhibited by Samantha Van Voris back this afternoon for the Supreme Drive. We will be moving into our junior shorthorn show as soon as we are done pictures.
I'd like to take this chance to introduce our royalty for the Hereford show one more time. And coming into the middle of the ring, we'll start with our 2025 National Hereford Queen, Miss Natalie Belcher. Natalie is a 19-year-old freshman attending Abraham Baldwin Agriculture College in Tifton, Georgia. She's attending for agricultural education with a minor in animal science. She is a fifth-generation Hereford cattle breeder and is excited to be here to represent the great Hereford breed. Thank you, Natalie. Assisting her today is the 2025 Georgia Hereford Sweetheart. She is the sister of our National Hereford Queen, and she would like to wish all junior exhibitors good luck today. This is Carolee Mills. Thank you, Carolee. And finally, we have our 2025 Maryland Hereford Junior Princess, Miss Dorothy DeFord. She is a resident of Harford County, Maryland, and is in 5th grade. And as well, she is very excited to be here today. Ladies, thank you very much for your work and for representing the Hereford breed.
Over here on the Hereford side, a challenging set of pairs to sort through, and I commend all of these exhibitors showing a cow-calf pair ain't for the faint of heart. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of effort put into it. But I think there's a really nice, useful kind of cows out here, and they're doing a good job with their calves. I probably elected to use the female here, this pair up here on top. She's got a really strong bull calf there at her side. I like this cow up through her front end, and she's probably the most ideal in terms of her udder. I think a female gets around the ring really well, and she's doing a nice job with a quality bull calf there at her side. Young man's cow-calf pair here in second. Moderate framed, easy fleshing kind of a cow. Probably like to tone her down in terms of her udder. I know you can tell she's a healthy milker. She might milk a little too much. I don't see a lot of life in that udder, but she's got a quality heifer calf at side. Gives you a real nice maternal look. My compliments to that young man. Nice pair there. The pair coming out here in third is tricky for me because I like that bull calf a lot. That's probably the best animal here in this class. The mother outproduced herself, and that's what she's supposed to do, and that's why it gets hard for me. But that cow's just probably a little plainer. I like to probably see her teat placement a little square, but a female that maybe gets up in her top line ever so slightly. But I compliment that bull calf. That's a really, really nice, strong bull calf. Female coming out next here, a really long, extended cow. Got another quality bull calf there at her side. I like her udder design. Female gets around the ring really, really well. She just wants to drop that hip ever so slightly, kind of shallower in terms of her body shape. Female coming out next, a lot can be said for her. Same there. The heifer calf's really stout. That cow, though, I just probably like to see a little more presence, a little more balance, and eye appeal to her. But a female gets around the ring really, really well, and a strong udder there underneath her, too. Female rounding out the class, a big, high-performing cow. Got a solid bull calf there at her side. Like to change her udder design, maybe just level her up ever so slightly. Maybe just like to see her toned down in terms of her frame size. But let's give the pair of exhibitors a big round of applause. They're doing a tremendous job.
If you're marking your catalogs, in the Hereford Class 2150 cow-calf pair, entry 1751, exhibited by Addison Heater, was first. Entry 2116 was second, exhibited by Landon Hall. Third was 2872, exhibited by Harrison Roberts. Fourth was 3462, exhibited by Lily Barnett. Fifth, 2646, exhibited by Abby Patrick. And sixth, entry 1731, exhibited by Abigail Smith. So folks, this is what we've been waiting for. This is our senior champion drive. I'd like to introduce the winners from earlier in the day. Our champion spring calf was entry 3830, a March 29th sensation daughter owned by Nick Bernadowitz, and her name was Chestnut 2296 Marbles. Reserve in the Spring Calf Champion class was entry 3873, owned by Nathan Bernatowitz. Our champion junior calf was entry 200. She is Day Hazel C. 1857, a February 22nd Montgomery daughter owned by Rhett Day. And our reserve junior calf was entry 4485, owned by Lucy Flynn. In our senior calf championship, our winner was entry 4585, a December 5th American Classic owned by Hudson Fleener. Her name is KLL Elman Rogue. Our reserve in that division was entry 1770, exhibited by Collier Schaefer. Our champion intermediate yearling division winner was entry 5424, a May 1st Ivy's Advanced daughter, HAW KLD Maisie, exhibited by Piper Cease. And reserve in that division was entry 4875, exhibited by Riley Stockdale. Our spring yearling division champion was entry 4876. She's an April 2nd Red River daughter, SCC H18 Rivy, exhibited by Riley Stockdale. And reserve in that division was entry 3348, exhibited by Chase Harward. In our junior yearling division, entry 3220 was our champion. She's a February 25th Prophet daughter, BK MCC Money Shot, exhibited by Sutter Clark. And reserve in that division was entry 4308, exhibited by Ella DeFord. And in our senior yearling class, we had our winner was entry 199, a December 5th American Classic, Day Honky Tonk Woman 18, exhibited by Rhett Day. And second in that class was entry 5058, GSF Olivia Emerald, an October 6th American Classic, exhibited by Lucy Flynn. Folks, what a great Hereford show this morning. Let's put our hands together for all the exhibitors today.
While our judge on the Hereford side continues to make his choices for your grand champion, Hereford female, we're going to get started with our shorthorns here this morning. We're going to go ahead and start with our cow-calf pair. We have a single cow-calf pair on our shorthorn side, exhibit number 2716.
Well, again, I'm going to echo what the announcer said. Let's put their hands together for this group of young people we have coming out here. I think a really quality show. It was really deep throughout. I know I'm biased towards the Hereford breed, and I've got a lot of respect for a lot of you breeders back here. There's a lot of good Hereford cattle that come out of this area. There's some of the top-end bulls in the AI side of things in the breed, and a lot of the donor cows that go on and do a lot of winning and produce great bulls come from back in this area, and my compliments to you. And these kids got a whale of a set of cattle out here. I expected it to be good, but I was even more impressed on how deep of the quality of the show that we had, all the way down from this heifer calf all the way down to the pair. I think I like this lineup quite well. I think they fit together. For me, though, I think it probably comes down to three heifers that struck me really hard, but I think there's a pair of them that probably go together quite well for me. But I'll go out there and take a look and get you a champion, take another look for reserve. But again, my compliments to you breeders, my compliments to you kids, quality show, and my hats are off to you.
Congratulations to our champions. From the Senior Calf Division, congratulations to champion Hudson Fleener with entry 4585, KLL L-Man Rogue. And our reserve champion was our Intermediate Yearling Division winner, exhibited by Piper Cease, entry 5424, HAWKLD Maisie. We'd like to thank everyone who exhibited and got cattle ready for the Hereford show today. What a great show. Thanks again to our official judge, Mr. Cody Beck.
Well, as we jump into our Shorthorn show, and our first class here is a cow-calf pair that, a young cow out here that's really putting her heart and effort into raising a nice baby calf back here. This little heifer calf's really sporty. As we talk about future for this one, she's got the goods out here. A heifer calf that is long and extended. She's really got a good top line working in her. She's sound enough. She's got a really good structure. Then we get back up to this cow. Like I said, I think this little cow's really putting her heart and soul into it. Maybe need to kind of push her along, give her a little help, maybe just in terms of giving her a little more condition, a little more shape. I'm afraid that calf might get her really nursed down here, but still high quality female out here that she's struggling out here just ever so slightly off her rear right foot. Just maybe got a little foot rot going on in there, but maybe you want to tweak on that. But still a very productive, high quality pair to get us started in the Shorthorn show.
We have one more class in the Hereford division that we failed to recognize. So would all the top placing bred and owned females from every class please come in the ring, and we'll have Judge Beck make his selection for champion bred and owned of the show.
Congratulations to your grand champion cow-calf pair in the Shorthorn division was Chloe Patrick with ATWF Miss Caroline. Into the ring now, we are going to bring Shorthorn cattle in class 2454A. We have split this class. We are looking for 3 exhibitors. Entry 2743, entry 3249, and entry 4261. These heifers range in age from May 2nd to June 28th. Again, we have split 2454. This is 2454A. It has 3 heifers in this class with ages ranging between May 2nd and June 28th.
Well, as we jump into our Shorthorn show, and it comes right at me right out of the gate here, I had to make some decisions out here. The young lady I chose to start with, I think for me, has just a little more base width at this early stage. Now, would I like to tweak this one just right in that throat and latchet, chest area ever so slightly? But still, when you read this one, she does balance up. She's probably the truer, it brings it back into her flank area a little better than our heifer here in 2, but yet I still think that if we could tweak that ever so slightly there. The young man with the one here in 2 has that look that I like out of that front 1/3, but where she gets me in trouble is I think she's just a little narrow based right at this particular moment. I think there's one that's really good looking, but she doesn't bring that back in her flank area quite as nice, doesn't balance up quite as nice as that one that wants to go ahead and start. And then rounding our class, one just gives up too much performance, production orientation right now to get her any higher in this class. We need to stouten her bone work up. Still very good looking. We just need to give her some more power, some more muscle to run with them.
I'd like to congratulate our exhibitors in class 2454A. First was awarded to Madeline Rankin with 3249 LPA Max Rosa FFPF. Second went to Sawyer McGrew, exhibitor 4261 with CF Dream Only. And third went to Chloe Patrick with PMFKP Fancy Caroline. Into the ring at this time, we have 8 exhibitors in class 2454B. These heifers range in age from March 1st to April 29th. Again, heifers in this class range in age from March 1st to April 29th.
Well, here in the Hereford show for this bred and owned champion lineup, I think a tremendous set of cattle for these young people to breed them and raise them and get them to this point. My hats are off to you. Bred and owned is very important to me. I think there's a few of them that are extremely good. They're very high quality. They were playing pretty hard there in the owned show. I'll go out there and select the two I like for champion reserve bred and owned, but my hats are off to you. I think there's a few cows out here that are going to be extremely good for these young people. But congratulations.
Congratulations to our bred and owned champions from the Hereford show. Our bred and owned champion was owned by Riley Stockdale, and our reserve is owned by Ella DeFord. Congratulations to all.